are successful for one reason, and it is ultimately the business owner.
What do you think is the biggest pain points for the small business owners that you speak to day to day?
Themselves, a lot of it. Like, I would never really speak to someone who's not opened a business or started a business or ran a business. If you want to start one, you need to speak to someone who is in that position, because they will give you a reality check. Oh, yeah. Ready, Josh?
Ready,
Yeah.
ready, excited.
Thanks very much for coming in.
No problem.
Really appreciate you spending a little time with us this afternoon. Do you want to start by telling us what your business is?
Thanks for having me, Ben. So I run a marketing agency called Aeternum Media, and I would say we're a full funnel agency, apart from SEO, because I hate SEO, and I think AI is going to, make that extinct anyway. And we talked about that off camera about AI, and anyway, so we do full funnel, which is essentially, Josh, we have this product which helps people with X problem, or we help people with their systems or whatever it is, but we're not able to get people to convert, or we're not getting enough leads, or we're not getting enough sales, or whatever it is, which is obviously 99% of the time that's going to be your marketing. We're not selling enough, whatever, we're not getting enough leads for whatever. We'll come in and go, okay, I'm gonna have a look at everything from the front of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. What does everyone see? What way are we touching point, or what's our touch points with them? Is it email? Is it social? Okay, the sales in social. What's your next action after social? Is it DM? Okay, the DM after DM. What's after that? So the full funnel, the conversion. And we'll go, okay, we're having problems here, here, and here, because once people go on your website, no one gets in touch with you, which is probably an indicator that your website isn't very good.
Yeah.
Or the copy.
Are you
isn't
getting
very
a
good.
lot of? Are you getting a lot of traction from multiple different industries, or is it all kind of just online, web-based industries?
I would say, in terms of the industries that we work mostly with, it's mostly B2B businesses.
Yeah.
So mostly B2B. We do have some B2C, which is more of the content side of things, because they need more content to get people engaged to come in store. But no, we would do more B2B with web dev, paid ads, all that kind of jazz.
And you think more people are seeing value in kind of like outside of their business, because a lot of these small businesses kind of did try to do a lot of that themselves.
I think it can be a bit of a trap, because you're not an expert and you try to learn everything.
Yeah.
Remember, when you deal with a specialist or a freelancer, even in a certain field or whatever, these people do this day in, day out.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Every single day that I am up, Monday to probably Saturday, probably shouldn't do a Saturday, but sometimes I do. So Monday to Saturday, every single day, I'm dealing with a problem which is marketing related.
Yeah.
Every single day. So when you ask me a question, I am honed in like a goddamn shark to answer your problem. Whereas you could be like this, right, on the YouTube, okay, watch this guru, right, this guru as well, this guru. Let me tell you, a lot of these gurus, their number one thing to do is to sell you on being the magician to fix your problems.
Yeah.
But then they don't have a reputable business. It's just their name.
And I also think that you don't necessarily need to know everything in your business.
No, you don't.
Businesses are successful for one reason, and it is ultimately the business owner.
Yeah.
But there's multiple factors to why it's been successful. Is the business owner got a good idea? Are they the marketer? Are they the finance person? Are they in the operations? It really depends on like identifying your skill set and then admitting to yourself of like, I am useless at marketing, so I need to get someone from the outside to help with that.
Yes.
Because we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago whenever you were speaking about a business that had a marketing manager and they weren't really getting any results.
Nothing.
And effectively they didn't know what they were doing, the marketing manager, and this business owner was paying them thousands of pounds every month.
Yep.
And there was no deliverables.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the naive approach, is to bring in a marketer who is going to try and learn your business and then try and figure out a strategy and on your dime the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at bringing the experts in and the specialists and whatever, you're spending the money there and then, and you're also getting the results
Yes.
there and then.
You're paying for the result.
You're paying for the results, and that, as a small business owner, like I have being that person who's like, I'm not paying for an electrician, I'm not paying for a marketer, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
paying for this because I'm gonna give it a go myself.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the time it just ends up in frustration,
Yep.
and you've spent 2 hours trying to do something, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna have to pay for them anyway. And what's the point? If someone is good at a particular aspect of doing business, providing a trade, just go straight to the source and go, I need an electrician. I'm going to pay for this. I need a marketer. I'm going to outsource this. I'm going to spend £1,000 a month. And these are deliverables. If they can be met for £1,000, happy days. And that's better than, having to manage a full-time person who is effectively in your business and will be probably looking for guidance from you all the time.
So Ben, you deal with a lot of SMEs, right? Because you do a lot of consultation work. I have a question for you, right? That I think would be a good question. If you were to ask a small business owner, right, how much would you pay for a logo? What do you reckon they would say?
They probably they will probably wantonly say 30 quid, but knowingly it's going to cost them 150 plus.
Right. So say the average SME
Yeah.
is willing to pay 150 quid.
Yeah.
Right. Your branding is the first thing anybody will see.
It's so noticeable. Like, you see businesses start up, and it used to be like you seen it. They maybe did a clip art. Do you know what I mean? They maybe got something from the internet that they paid a fiver for, and it's so noticeable. People are coming a little bit more adept now to using likes of Canva. Canva's a very good tool.
Canva's amazing,
and it's an amazing tool for SMEs.
I had to learn on Photoshop. It was shite.
Photoshop was really hard work.
Illustrator.
And you've £100 for the pro version for the year. Really good value for money, especially for SMEs, because you've got all of the tools that are very easily utilized if you get a bit of time doing it. But again, if you are a hairdresser or a beautician and you're in your business for 40 hours a week doing all of the work, you do not need to be spending any more time doing your brand and doing your promo. You want to be looking at that going, I'm doing the service, right? I enjoy the service. I maybe do training workshops. I enjoy that. You should be giving that back to yourself and turning around and going, I am going to pay for someone to do all my marketing, because that's not your bag.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep.
And until people realize that, and a lot of it comes down to money, right? A lot of them, they're like, I don't want to pay someone £1,000 a month to do my marketing. But like,
pay peanuts, get monkeys.
Pay peanuts, get monkeys. If you turn around and are spending 40 hours a week, right? Where is the rest of the week are you going to find time to do your marketing? Where is that? That's like, that could be a 5-6 day week. Where are you going to be able to help your business grow?
And it's probably going to be shite. Let's be honest.
And it's going to be quick. It's going to be reactive.
Yeah.
There's going to be zero strategy behind it.
Zero.
And it's just going to be like sharing stories and putting X, Y, Z up. And if you think you have time to do that, fine. That's so be it, right?
Learn hard way.
But you will eventually, unfortunately get to a stage where you're like, I'm doing 40 hours in my business, and I'm doing the marketing, and I'm doing the finances, and I'm doing this, and I have no time, and then you'll end up falling out of love for what you started the business for in the first place.
That's hard that you're speaking the language of what most businesses feel. And a lot of them feel because there's no passion. They just hate their existence.
Because if effectively they've bought themselves a job again.
Yeah, locked themselves in.
And they've locked.
And they don't even get to stop at 5 o'clock.
No, and they don't get to stop at 5. And that's almost the victim of being successful at what you do. Like, if you have a full book, if you're a hairdresser or a beautician, you have a full book and you have 40 hours of clients, you're doing really well. Like, and if you're booked a month in advance, you're doing really well. But sort of give it back to yourself that if there's enough money in the pot that you're paying yourself a 40-hour a week salary, and there's enough money left in the pot, and you feel as if you could maybe spend a little bit of money towards outsource, do it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you'll do, because I think a lot of SMEs feel as if they have to do it all themselves. And, there's an analogy of being a busy fool. Sometimes you just have to look at it and go, there's no point in me doing this. It's not worth my time.
You're going to change it anyway. You said that to me earlier.
Yeah,
It's going to change it anyway.
It's not worth my time. if I look at a job, like if I look at a task now and I go, right, if I need to do that, that's going to cost me 2 hours of my time. And I'm looking at that going, I would rather go to the gym in that 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
I will look at it and go, right, well, how much is it going to cost me if I bring a third party in? And it's going to cost, like, if I need an engineer to come out or an electrician, they're going to charge me £75. I'm like, okay, if I value myself at even just £25 an hour, right? 2 hours that's going to take me. It's going to take the electrician half an hour. He's 75, I'm 50. I'd still rather go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay them to get it done. Means that, because it might not take me 2 hours, it might take me 3, it might take me 4, and they're the expert, and they're turning around and being able to deliver that on time to my expectations and do the job and walk away with £75.
Absolutely.
Until business owners get to that mindset of they don't have to do them all themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they will just continually be shoveling the dirt, and the dirt will just be falling back in again.
See in the marketing end, see for any SME listening or any small business owner listening who say is maybe pocketing or profiting, under $5,000, let's say. The number one biggest driver that you can do, the number one biggest ticker that you can do is look at your logo, look at your website, look at your branding, look at your messaging. I know this is probably jargon to them, but have an understanding. How do you speak whenever you write statuses, write any copy, any written word? How do you sound?
Like misspelling or like someone's texting their mom.
That's criminal. Don't do any of that. Yeah. But I mean, like, do you come across witty? Do you come across unprofessional? Do you come across like an asshole? Whatever it is, look at that. Look at your branding. Is your branding synonymous with the kind of thing you do? Are you a luxury brand? Okay. Do you, when people look at it, ask your friends, does that look luxury? No, it doesn't look luxury at all.
Yeah.
So if you fix just the branding element and you get maybe your statuses in terms of the graphics you do aren't the best, you will still have made a bigger drive off that initial stuff. Because let me tell you, 99.9% of the people, when they click on any social media or turn up their business and they see their branding, they've already had a preconception of how valuable you are.
It's that aspect of, look premium, act premium, deliver premium.
Yes.
People will have higher expectations, but if you meet all three of those, then it's not a problem. But if you have something that has a logo that's maybe drawn up on Word, and then you've put it on, and then you've got a poster that's exactly the same, and then it's something else on top of that, people are just going to be like, this is cheap and nasty.
If I see one more AI logo, I'll throw up in my mouth.
Do
not make an AI logo. They look horrible. Anybody can do them using.
It's funny. It's that aspect in the hospitality industry. Like, you don't really see too many like Chinese takeaways with excellent branding.
No,
you don't see too many, because
the ones that do would probably win.
Yeah, because they're old fashioned.
Panda Express in America.
Yeah, Panda Express, one. And like they don't do anything magnificent, but they're branded out as a Chinese takeaway, and it's a great concept. But the local ones here, they're just a random name, and it's like a very basic, not even a logo. It's just words. It's always that like in Northern Ireland, we are very much always say like it's a dirty Chinese. Do you know what I mean? Because everything about a Chinese takeaway is low value. Do you know what I mean? Like, even as in the brand aspect. So people are not expecting it to be anything magic. But if you have a brand developed purely as a Chinese takeaway and it has brilliant marketing and everything, people will then just lean into that and go, oh, this looks professional. Let's go here because it's professional.
Probably kill the other ones.
And it would just completely destroy the rest of them, because
that's my opinion, yeah.
They've went down the premium route, and people expect premium because as soon as you see a brand, it could literally be a brand for one shop. But that stands out massively because everything about it is right.
Have you ever seen, there's an episode, I cannot remember the exact episode, but it's a guy who likes to dupe people on YouTube.
I know what you're talking about.
He has blonde hair.
Yeah. He did a takeaway out of his garage or something, or his house.
That exact guy, but not this one. He done the one where he grabbed cheap Primark shoes. It might not be Primark, it might be a different brand, but it was a cheap, like a $5 pair of shoes, $10 pair of shoes, and he hired out this luxury boutique, and he put all the £5 and £10 shoes in and got people to come in and charge 10x for all of them, and everyone was going, how beautiful they are. These shoes are magnificent.
It's perceived value.
Art.
Yeah.
What was the number one change?
Yeah.
The branding, how it was perceived.
Yeah, it's pure. It's
But
pure.
the product was a tenner.
Yeah, and that's that's what kind of happens a lot. Like if you have a premium brand but you're delivering like cheap tat, people will still pay for it. Because the whole aspect is pure premium.
Yeah.
So what out of developing your business, how would you then measure your own success? What would you say is success for Josh right now? Because I'm a believer that success does change. Success for me 10 years ago was very different what success is now, and I think it will be different again in 10 years.
I totally agree with what you're saying in terms of it changing. For me right now, I come from a family where money was always a problem. It was always a stressor. My mum and dad, when I was growing up, there was always arguments about money.
Yep.
So money,
So you've wanted to. That's been something that's been inbuilt to you that you've always
Yes.
wanted to remove.
my relationship with money has always been I'm going to attract money. I'm going to make money. So I would say my driver for success is very much
Make as much as you can, work as hard as you can,
right now in life.
and,
Yes.
and deliver that. Yeah.
Yes, right
and I
now-
think that's totally fine.
Give value to people.
Yeah.
Be valuable. I think every man on planet Earth, the number one thing that they want in life is to be valuable. Whether
Yeah.
it's to your family, your
Yeah.
wife, your kids, whatever it is. For me in my business, it's being valuable and actually giving value to people. And it's driving sales and driving growth. That is where I am
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
now. Speak to me in 10 years.
Different
hopefully
story.
a few million sitting in the
Yeah.
bank pretty. It might be, I'm sitting in Malta or Monaco or something and enjoying myself.
Yeah.
But right now that is where I am.
Yeah, and I think that like that's one thing I've learned about myself. You adapt as a person, you change as a person, especially when you are running your own show. You end up looking at sort of your family circles, your friendship circles, and if people are not on the same wavelength, the same page, you start to devalue them less.
Oh my
You start to
goodness,
move on, and
Yep.
you're just looking at it going, well, like, I'd rather work 60, 70 hours a week on my business and then just go home to my wife and my kids, and I'm happy. But like, that's one thing that is the whole growth mindset. Like, you're a very different version of Josh to 15-year-old Josh, and
Very different.
I think some people, especially coming from Northern Ireland, I think people are very wary of that, and we never really push ourselves outside that box. We very much go, oh well, like I'm 15-year-old Ben. People know me as that in the circles that I still am running around as, and then I'm not really going to stick my neck out. I'm not really going to progress, but I'm in the position now through my own work, through zero consult from family or friends. So I know that I can just go alone. And, right now, I don't really care if I have to go it alone. But, what I value is the freedom for myself and value my time, get to choose what I do with my time. And, I'm in the fortunate position that my businesses still give me enough out of them to not have to really spend a lot of time on them. I'm on call effectively, like, but a lot of the time I'm not really needed. I maybe spend 4 to 5 hours a week on them, just to make sure they're ticking over. Like, I always use the analogy of, like, I don't really exist to my customers. I'm always in the boiler room making sure there's some fuel on the fire. That's really my role right now. But I
love
think ultimately, you as a person will grow with your business. You will change as a person. People won't know you as that person anymore. And if someone turns around to you and says, Josh has changed,
I probably
okay.
have.
That's okay. You probably have, and you're maybe not running around with the same people you ran around with 10 years ago, and that's okay, because that's not you anymore.
Absolutely.
You're focusing on different things and you're valuing different things, and if your golden opportunity is that you want to make as much as you can and provide as much value to your clients, and then go from there and retire into Malta in 10 years, good on you.
Speak to the guy in 10 years. I don't know.
Speak to the guy
Yeah.
in 10 years. But if that has to be, I think, part of the growth mindset, I think that has to be installed in everybody, and there has to be a want to do that. And this is why, business owners in the position that we're in, like we're after something that we want.
Yes.
And it can be financial, it could be time, it could be freedom, it could be flexibility, it can be multiple different things. If you want something that's going to be like you want multiple businesses for your kids, every kid has a business, and you want that, and you want to run that for them and give it to them at 18, that's totally fine. But I think everyone needs to sit down and look at going, am I really interested in sitting and working in a factory for 30, 40 hours a week for the rest of my life? Absolutely not.
Gotta take risks.
You have to take some sort of risks, because if you don't take the risks, you'll never know. And the biggest regret that I could have possibly had is not take those risks.
Well, it changed your life, didn't it?
5 or 6 years ago, because it completely changed my life, completely changed my perspective, completely changed my trajectory of where I was going. And that was based on me. And it's the same with yourself. You have changed the path that you were potentially going down by taking those decisions and taking those risks. And there's financial risks there, and there's definitely the risks that I've taken in the last 5-6 years. If they didn't work out, like, I was fucked. I was going back home. I was going back to live with my parents if they didn't work. And that's.
But you'd still be alive.
But I'd still be alive.
And guess what? In Northern Ireland, we don't have bailiffs, so we can get the debt off.
No, exactly. Do you know what I mean? But I think people are, people are too worried on that aspect. And like, I speak to people a lot. Anyone that's interested in starting a business, or you've just started a business, and it's always my number one question to them. I'm like, why are you wanting to do this? What are you wanting?
What's your why?
What are you wanting from this? Is it the fact you just want to work for yourself? Is it the fact you want to have more flexibility? Figure that out first, and then we will build and navigate the business around that. Like, if you want to earn, silly amount of money every year, okay. Goodbye to your family and friends.
100%.
Admit to yourself now that, like, if that's what you want, that's what you need to do, because you will not be able to marry the pair of them. You will not be able to spend time at home. You will not be able to, have holidays and stuff. Be prepared for all that. But if it's more of a lifestyle aspect,
like the 4-hour work week.
Yeah, if you want to be like, you want to start work at 10 when your kids have went to school, and you want to finish at 3. Okay, this is how the business is going to function on that basis.
Yeah, systemize things.
Systemize it so that it's going to be working for you. And, I think when people realize that, especially when kids come along, like, it's not really about the financial aspect all the time. There's definitely a financial aspect, because, you're wanting all your bills to be paid. And
security.
You want security.
Yeah.
But, like, there's probably, for me, there's a metric every month that my business needs to make, right? If it hits that, I'm happy. If it doesn't hit that, I'm like, that's a bit shit.
That's the opposite of me.
I'm
the opposite. If we're not making more money, I'm upset.
But I've learned through my business that it needs to hit that to satisfy my needs, because I'm in the stage now where, I did for a couple of years really push myself. I probably had my finger in too many pies, mostly because of distance, and probably the business models that I was involved in.
Stretch yourself in.
We're stretching very much so. Whereas now the businesses I'm involved in, I know what I need to get out of them to meet my needs outside, and I'm quite happy with that. But that's only short term. 2 relatively young kids, when they get to a certain age, I will be ready to push myself again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But now, I think it's not that I'm admitting that I'm stagnant. It's I'm admitting that I'm plateauing temporarily.
I wouldn't even think that.
I've zero interest in, creating another site for my business. I've zero interest. I'm interested in creating more revenue for the site, but if you were to turn around and me, there's a new site, you could open up another location. No thanks, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're very much whenever you were talking to me earlier about what you value as success, it seems to me, listening to you now, that your metric for success is the access to your own time.
Yeah.
People, like, I own my own time,
yeah.
which is actually probably one of the most boss things you can really say to someone is I control my time, because
Yeah.
even I don't
Yeah,
I don't even
effectively you
control my own
don't. You
time.
effectively right now you don't.
It doesn't, like,
Yeah.
anybody who is trying to scale their business in any way and they're in day-to-day operations. If you're not, for example, I'm with you now, or I'm with another client or whoever, I'm with them. That's my time going and
Yep.
giving energy to them.
Yeah.
Now, only work with people that you want to actually give your energy to.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another thing I would say to people. Don't work with people who zap your energy and like just losers. That's a horrible
Yeah.
thing to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people just are energy zappers. Don't work with
Or
people like
make
that.
or make fun of what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you're just not
Well, I
really
mean, if you're
interested.
paying me, I'm gonna laugh
Aye,
at you.
yeah, yeah. But if you're not, if you the sort of mentality aspect doesn't align,
Yeah.
then what's the point?
Don't
Do you
waste
know?
time on it. Don't waste time. But just listen to you now, like, obviously you really value your time, and almost every business owner doesn't have that, especially if they're trying to. In our case, we're trying to scale, and I want to add more staff. And on my end, like, my aspirations for Aeternum Media is probably to become one of the largest agencies in Ireland, and to get there, I have to take big action. And lucky for me, I have a partner who is willing to pick up the slack.
Let you do that.
Yeah.
But as your business grows, you could potentially spend less time in the business.
Absolutely.
You should when you could be the effective face. You could be the person who goes and does the consults and everything. But that's it. That's you. Once you've got the client,
Yeah.
that's you done. Because there should at that stage like if you're doing multiple pitches to people and you're getting multiple clients every other week,
Yep.
that should be enough coming in
Very true.
so that you can just be like, okay, well, I now don't need to do the editing, or I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that, because you're effectively taking your time out of the business and going and getting the business to come in. So like once you've got that, you should not be then going back in to the business. You should always be on the periphery, and you should be the earner. So you should be going hitting 2-3 clients, getting 2-3 clients every week, or a new client a week, right? You look at that, how much that's going to get taken revenue, right? How much that's going to bring in. And if you can get one new client a week and then goes to 2, 3, 4, then you're just bringing all the work to the table. It's kind of that aspect. You're going out, you're earning the bacon, but you're bringing it home and you're letting them all cook it. You don't need to be involved in that cooking because you need to be out there earning more bacon.
I absolutely agree with 90% of what you're saying. The only thing I would say in my world, in the marketing world, you need somebody who is able to get the strategy right. So I need to be the captain of the ship, because essentially it's my mantras that are going to go forward with things. Now, video editing, all that other stuff, yes, almost all the operational stuff, like web design, video editing, a media buyer, all that stuff, yes, absolutely. I can have that all set up for staff members, and then essentially I don't need to look at it because I should trust them. I should be able to delegate. Yeah, absolutely agree. But if you're paying for example, I talked to you earlier about Oakley and Oakley and Mathers, which is doing about 6 billion in revenue every year. They're paying probably for their top guys, and their top guys are the strategy. Everyone else after that, implementation, all that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a really good top guy, for me as an agency, I need to be that top guy right now.
Yeah.
But if I ever find someone who's exceptional, I will absolutely let them be the top guy. The strategy guy, the guy who leads people. But for me right now, and where I am in that kind of incubation period, or during growth and during scaling, I need to be that guy.
And I was that guy for 2 years. Do you know, and eventually got to the stage where every system, process, SOP, everything was all refined and everything. And then you're like, okay, well, like, I don't need to be that guy anymore regularly. I'm still the strategist. I'm still the person who's looking ahead. But I don't need to be involved in the day-to-day nitty-gritty kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, that's more so, me turning around and going, well, I did give 2.5 years of my life to it.
Yeah.
I definitely
put
did
the shift
that.
in.
I put a shift in. So I'm now at that stage where I'll take that back, please. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be, I could technically like run the place from afar. I wouldn't need a manager. Let the staff just crack on. I could just do all the bits and pieces but what's the point? let a manager do that. He'll keep a tighter grip upon everything. He'll develop it that way. And I think, it's ultimately me admitting to my own ideologies of like, well, like right now I need this
Yeah.
because, you know, running your own business is incredibly difficult until there's a certain point where you go, right, do I want to continue running it this way, or do I want to turn around and change my attitude to my business?
What do you think is the biggest pain points for the small business owners that you speak to day to day?
Themselves, a lot of it. I think a lot of them get themselves if they get themselves too relatively successful, they are scared of letting go. And that's one of the big things is like, they have to have their fingers in every part, and they're just like, oh well, like you don't talk to customers because I talk to customers. Like, but if you want to be the person who's the customer facing aspect, you fulfill that role. But if there's multiple other aspects that you don't really need to be involved in, get yourself out of there. Do you know what I mean? Operationally, I could run my business. I really enjoy the team aspect, but operations is not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? Whereas getting the best out of my team is looking at the finances. I'd outsource marketing. Maybe it's the fact that I'm maybe coming from a situation of like luxury, maybe a little bit of privilege, but I think you have to turn around to yourself and own up to yourself. Like, what do I not enjoy in this business? There's definitely things you don't enjoy. Like, my mum has ran her own business for 40 guts of 40 years, and she was useless at her bookkeeping. So I just took it off her 10 years ago. And like, all she ever asked me for is there enough money in the bank? And that's it. So like, she runs her business, and I just took all the bookkeeping away from her, and like, she's never looked back since, because I always remember as a kid she was sitting down every Sunday trying to do her bookwork. And that's one of the problems that a lot of business owners face is they feel as if they have to do so much. They feel as if they can't outsource. They have to be the media creator, the marketer, the finance, if they have staff, they have to be operational, they have to be the HR person. If you really sit down and look at it and go, right, well, what am I spending my time doing? If I took away the 5 hours a week that I'm doing all of the external stuff, and then I took 5 hours to servicing clients, I wouldn't really have to worry about it, because those 5 hours are paying for the other services.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's that aspect of, if you're a PT and you earn £50 an hour, right? £50 an hour to see a client, and then every week you're spending 3 hours doing bookkeeping, that's £150 to you, because you could be earning three hours worth of PT, and you could outsource that to a bookkeeper who charges £25 an hour, and they will do it faster, more efficient, more systematically than you. So
they'll probably do it much faster, which will save you the money, even
so
if they
turn around, oh well, your books are relatively simple, it's an hour a week, so instead of, because you're not any good at it, you're thinking, oh well, I'll do it myself and just try and save money. But you could be out earning 4 or 5 times as much in that same period by just outsourcing to somebody else.
For me, the biggest growth I've ever had in the agency was whenever we got our first staff member, because I no longer had to do a lot of things and I could focus on sales.
Yeah. And that's
I had
totally
to get out of my own way, exactly what you said, because I thought I had to do everything, and I'll be able to get us to 20 grand a month, and then from there I'll have everyone. It's like, no.
You need to get out of your own way a lot of things, and like that's where I sort of recognized my own feelings as a business owner, of, I need to get out of the way for certain things. And if I've luckily found people who are better than me at certain things in my business, and I've just got out of their way. Like, okay, you want to be manager? So be it. You be manager. But I look after the finances. We've tried to give the marketing over to the team. It doesn't really work. I do a little bit, do a bit of strategy. I do all the other stuff that doesn't really need me on a day-to-day. And that's kind of what I enjoy. But to be in there day-to-day, dealing with the day-to-day stuff, I'm like, nah, it's not really for me. Like, so I got out of that. I got out of the way of that 2.5 years ago, and I've never looked back. It's one of the best decisions I made 2.5 years ago.
And 99.9% of hospitality business owners are not in that position. They're actually the opposite of that. They all work way, way, way more. Yeah. I saw a a recent news article on Belfast Live, and it talked about a woman who is a cafe owner and she earns less than minimum wage.
I would say that's highly likely because
Not worth it.
they've probably put a lot of limitations on themselves. They're focusing quite a lot on reducing costs
Yeah.
and saving money. When in fact, if they got out of the way and maybe got someone in to do half of the hours that they were doing, they could maybe actually get the business to thrive.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately comes down to, as an individual, most people who start their own business have been working in something similar to what they were doing beforehand, and they're
Yeah.
just moving across to working for themselves. But if you do that, the fundamental thing you need to avoid really is converting yourself into a job. And if you're converting yourself from a job that you just showed up to a job that you're now a business owner and you still have to show up, you're going to be paying yourself a hell of a lot less.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you're just going to be working 40, 50 hours a week for very little money.
Do you think some people should maybe not beat a dead horse, as I say, and if it really is that bad and you've done everything in the book and you've tried all the tricks that you have and you've no money in the bank, it's worth just saying, right, this isn't
Oh,
right
absolutely,
for right now.
absolutely. It's
and get a
okay.
job.
It's cool. It's okay to walk away.
Yeah.
It's okay to
And some of these people financially ruin themselves.
absolutely. And the thing with particularly hospitality is you can financially ruin yourself, and it's it's very unrecoverable. But I think admitting to yourself as a person that you've gave something to go is the massive positive you take out of it. Like
Absolutely.
I've started businesses and they or I've bought businesses and they haven't worked, and then a lease has came back round to, oh, do you want to renew your lease? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's game over here. Like this is not worked, and
Yep.
that's okay. But you need to know when to turn around and go, it's not worked. Do you know what I mean? You can't continue to go month to month to month that, oh, I'll not pay myself. I'll not do this.
Not worth
Like
the stress.
it's not worth the extra hassle and the extra stress. And ultimately, as a business owner, you will always try and make it successful, but there just needs to be a cutoff that going, this isn't working.
Absolutely. Don't give up too easily.
Don't give up too easily, but know when to also give up.
Don't beat a dead horse. Sometimes, there's some products and some types of shops. I'm not gonna talk about anyone individually, but there's some types of shops that are just about holding on because they're from a time that's gone past. And sometimes you just need to look at that and say, okay, the market isn't interested in this thing anymore. We should stop
Just
this,
close.
stop killing ourselves here, and go and maybe pursue another business if you want, or maybe get a job for a bit and just enjoy the benefit. It's easy to be an employee sometimes. You get some really good benefits. You're paid on your days off.
Yeah.
I'm not paid on my days
No,
off.
I'm the same, yeah.
Okay, the business pays me, but essentially, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
Because the business is essentially
You-
part of me
you
at the
right
minute.
now, yeah.
As much as it's not the limited
Yeah.
company, but you know what I mean. So sometimes it is worth just going, okay, let's regroup. Let's go here,
Yeah.
earn some money, save, fix my debt. Hopefully you had a limited company, didn't really screw yourself.
Yeah.
In a is it
Self-employed aspect.
Yeah, if you're self-employed,
Trading as, it
where
would be.
they can really come after you. So don't beat a dead horse. That's what
Yeah,
I would say.
I think, and ultimately that is down to the person just admitting that, like, it's okay to, definitely give the business idea a go. Maybe consult with someone who has been in that position before. Like, I would never really speak to someone who's not opened a business or started a business or ran a business. Like, there's no, if you want to start one, you need to speak to someone who is in that position.
Yeah.
Because they will give you a reality check.
Yeah.
Because if you speak to someone, if you like to make buns, or you're good at knitting and you think you can start a business knitting, no, you can't. There's no way to scale that without you unless you go down the machinery route. If you're looking to be staying handmade, it's not going to work. Not every business idea needs to be explored.
Yeah.
And if you think something's going to work, definitely try it out. Don't go full 100%. If you've got a full-time job, stay on your full-time job. Do this on the side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's working on the side, look to maybe reduce your hours in your full-time job.
You need to prove your concept.
You need the proof of concept.
Which a
and
lot of people don't do that.
And a lot of people don't really do well because they have the sort of rose-tinted glasses on. They're like, oh, like my business is great because
My boss can do it, so I can
my
do
boss can do it. My mummy says it's good. My aunt says it's good. You know, I've sold a couple of my cakes because my family say they're nice and all. And then they go and open a bakery, and they spend 50 grand on equipment, and then they wonder why no customers come in. Do you know? That's their own fault.
Should have started selling them out the kitchen in the house.
Should have start low and start progressing that way and moving that way.
Almost all businesses you can do that nowadays. Almost all of them.
You
So
can.
even if you have a company, you're like, oh, but I'm selling a product. Right, sweet. Start a pre-order list.
Yeah,
Create
pre-order.
a lot of hype around it, and
Yeah.
if people buy it on the pre-order, guess what?
Have your-
They're going to buy it when
yeah.
you actually buy the
Have it,
stuff.
have it all the stock sitting in your spare room or something.
I have
Don't
2 friends that done that.
don't go and open up a warehouse or a shop on the main street. Like that's the naivety. Like, whereas if you get the education from someone who's a business owner, and they'll give you the real perspective on how to run the business, and if it's a good idea, there's opportunity there. But like, I would quite happily turn around and say to someone like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because like you can financially ruin yourself.
I guess sometimes we can always get it wrong, but don't know
Yeah.
everything about everything.
No, absolutely.
You don't
There's
know
s-
what you don't know.
There's
Sometimes.
some there's businesses that opened up in the last couple of years that I've looked at and gone, like, that's a wee bit risky. Do you know what I mean? And then I always look at it and go, see what they're like in 3 years. Do you know, if they're still there in 3 years, okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
I-
indicator.
I'm fine with being wrong. Do
Yeah.
you know? But I'm looking at that going, especially my industry, coffee shops, like to open up a couple of 1,000 square foot unit in a busy road. Your rent and rates are going to be 70, 80 grand a year, and you're looking at it going, that's a lot of coffee. You're going to have to shift. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to be busy 6-7 days a week. You're going to have to be doing a couple of £1,000 per day revenue. Are you going to get that on a Monday morning? Doubtful. You want to get that on a Monday afternoon? Doubtful.
We're not a populous country, unfortunately.
We're not. We don't have that trade of,
Don't have enough
7 days a
people.
week. We don't have millions of people in towns and cities. Like, it's not 7 days a week. Like, every business, in my business, we're busy from, Wednesday or probably Thursday to Sunday. Monday to Wednesday, we get by.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
know,
exactly how it was for locals
And
as
it's
well.
the same for a lot of hospitality businesses. And if you have a seasonal business or something that's very much like a gift business, like it's a nice product but it's maybe expensive and people are only buying it at certain times of the year, you're very much up and down. But like, it's okay to run an online business from your bedroom.
Yeah.
And you could be actually doing really well at that. But the deciding factor is when you need a small little bit of advice going, oh, I think I can expand and take on a warehouse.
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
I actually was speaking to a client last night. She's based in America. Her name's Lake. Lovely person. Lake has had a really, really good month with us. Really good month. So she's went from, I want to say, doing like $2,000-3,000 a month. Lake's last month was $12,000.
Brilliant.
So she's
Brilliant.
nearly 10x.
Yeah.
Or not 10x. She's 5x
Yeah.
revenue. And she had a really good month. And she was like, Josh, do I go and buy this ad in a magazine? And it was $2,000.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No way.
Well,
Print media, no thanks. Yeah.
it was essentially going, right, okay, you've had a really good month.
Yeah,
Okay,
one
you've got
month.
you've
One month.
got a bit of cash in the bank.
Yeah.
You would in her mind, she would be cash rich right now.
Yeah.
'Cause she doesn't usually.
And she's got
have-
cash flow sitting there. She's going, oh, well, I can spend it on this. It's that I can maybe buy a new piece of equipment.
She doesn't need to.
No.
I said to her, look, if you want to do it in a year, cool. Right now, if you spent,
If things slow up, yeah, go on ahead.
I wouldn't even do it.
Try it. But print media, for depending on I wouldn't even say print media would be on my top 5. Do you know what I mean? I would have no real interest going down the print media route.
She's in the wedding industry, and
Oh yeah, so she's probably been approached by a wedding journal of some
Yeah,
sort.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
it
like,
was,
oh, you get the magazines in, but like well-targeted online ads will deliver the same results, if not better.
so when she spends $2,000 at the minute, she gets between $10,000 and $20,000 back in her Google
Mm-hmm.
ads with us at the minute, which is massive. It's almost hyperinflated with her.
Yeah.
So I
But
don't
if
want
she
to.
spends $2,000 on a one-page spread in a magazine, how does she measure what's coming back
So
from
it's
that?
unquantifiable. That's what
Yeah.
you would call that in the marketing
Yeah.
world. It's unquantifiable unless someone goes, "Hey, I saw you in the magazine." But there's also unquantifiable gains because if she's connected with that magazine and that helps her convert more,
Yeah.
that's something that we can't quantify. So I've said to her,
yeah.
right, you've got a few quid in the bank, or in her case, you have a few dollars in the bank. You don't need to go and spend it right now. You've only just got it.
Yeah.
Don't have holes in your pockets because you've got a bit of money.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to build your cash reserves and then
Yeah.
be strategic with your next step. Up your ad spend. Okay.
Is she a first-time business owner?
First time business owner.
Yeah. It's interesting that, because that's the naivety of it. You know, like, you want to be like, oh, I've got some money, let's do this. Do you know what I mean?
That's a trap.
But it's a trap. Yeah.
See if you have a really good month and you think, you know what, I made 10 grand that month. No, you fucking didn't, because there could be 3 months from now where the world goes to shit and then you end up only making $1 grand and your overheads are 4. But if you didn't spend that money, guess what? You've got 3 months of runway there. Don't be silly.
Well, I'll give you an example. It took me 2 years to go full time on myself, because I had still like external clients that I was doing, and it took me 2 years to get to that stage, because it was not. I wanted to see 2 yearly cycles of our revenue and our profits for every month, and then I wanted to see, right, average wise, what's it going to be, because if I can get I do that every year, so I get. Yeah, so I've now 4 and a bit years of data, and I could roughly tell you what we're going to do in January.
Okay.
Within 5%. Do you know what I mean? But that gives me comfort that I have that info, that I know if we hit this in January, I know what our profit's going to be. If I hit this I know July is a bad month for us. It has been for the last 4 years. We've tried a couple of different things to try and increase the revenue, but it just seems to be everyone in the area goes on holiday. Right, that's fine.
Standards.
But next year, we're just going to tighten our belt. We're not going to push ourselves any further. We're going to tighten our belt. We're going to reduce our hours, and we're not going to. We're just going to do it that way. So we're going to try and save like 7 hours a week. That's really it, because we've tried something different every single year. But that's based off the data that we've got over the last couple. So the point I'm making is, the general aspect of running a business is, like, you have to use the information you're getting, and as you say, if you have 1 good month, that means nothing. You need to have 2-3 good years, and enough cash reserves in the bank to support shit going wrong. Like,
you just need to have runway, man. If you don't have any runway, you have no business, because
like,
your business
our coffee machine shot itself one Saturday morning, $2.5 grand fix.
There you go.
I needed to have that in 30 days.
Yep.
And where was I going to get that if I spent $2.5 grand on advertising? Who was going to have to fund that? There's always.
Now, it depends, because you said advertising there, but the advertise.
Yeah, print media, like a print media. Yeah.
It's if it's a quantifiable ROI. If I pulled out a tenner right now, I said, Ben, right, I'll give you a tenner, but I want £100 back, and you were able to look at me. Give me a week. You came back in a week with 100 quid. I would throw you as much tenners as I possibly could.
Yeah, because I gave you a result.
Until maybe the £10 I gave you now turn into £50. Okay, am I profitable in them £50? Okay, I'm still profitable in them £50. Okay, we're down to £30. That's a scale, and that's a scaling problems. Okay, we're down to £30. Right, but once we give them that, and then they come in our ecosystem, and we sell them again on email, we're still profitable. Okay, keep it going. The whole idea of marketing is, if it's quantifiable as an ROI, either in brand, because brand, you can't quantify brand. Like, you have a venture, I'll not give that venture away at the minute, but you have a venture that you recently went into, you were telling me, and it's very much brand.
Yeah.
And it's not quantifiable right now.
Yeah.
Because that could be worth millions that you don't know about yet.
Yeah.
Because they built a brand.
Yeah.
So there's quantifiables and there's unquantifiables.
Yeah.
Direct ROI is, when I spend this, he gives me £100 back. But if I build in the brand, what's brand going to be worth in 6 months? What's it going to be worth in a year? It could be worth a hell of a lot.
Yeah, and I think the branding aspect of any business is generally unquantifiable until you really, until probably you go down to the stage of trying to sell it. Do you know how much is your brand worth?
Yeah.
Do you know, and in the local areas, like, coffee shops, restaurants, and they've developed a strong brand because of what they have as a reputation. And if a coffee shop opened up in a new town and it had this really strong reputation in Bangor, and it opened up in Hollywood, that's going to carry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because then the quality from either, whatever one came first, the quality of the service, the quality of whatever, that's going to carry 10 miles down the road because of the brand aspect.
Yep.
And it's really interesting topic that, you know, every SME should really focus on massively is, you know, when they think they're winning, you're really not winning. It's
Yeah.
because there's something coming around the corner pretty quickly
Yeah.
that's going to say, here, you're not winning right now. I'm coming for you. And that's one thing that, you know, new
Don't
business
rest
owners,
on your laurels. You're
yeah,
saying there,
no,
yeah.
don't rest on that. You know, just because you've had a good week or a good month, yeah, like just something's going to be happening soon. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so make sure you're ready for that, because I think a lot of business owners think, you know, especially if you've tasted success relatively early when you've launched a business, you know, I think there's a lot of naivety in that, because, you know, oh yeah, I've had a good 6 months. I started my business and I've sold out every month since, you know, but you know, as you say, the next 6 months you could sell nothing.
Yeah. You don't want to be cash. You want to be extremely cash rich, because if you're extremely cash rich, your money's no longer working for you,
Yeah.
and you need to grow. It depends what your goals are. For
Yeah.
example, this might not be applicable for you because you've said you value time. For me, money in the bank is not working. After a certain amount, I need runway.
Yeah, you need
Something could
cash
go
flow.
wrong.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
after a
yeah.
certain amount, I would put every last penny of that. No word of a lie, and don't copy me, people. But every extra penny after that amount, I'll put in the ads.
Yeah.
Every extra penny,
Yeah.
because I know that them ads will bring me more revenue, which scales the business further.
Yeah.
Simple as
Yeah.
that.
And I think that's admitting to what, you know, you feel that your business needs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, I always look at it. You know, there's historic, you know, local newspapers that have advertising aspect, and you look at them like, they've ran ads in that Antrim Guardian for the last 30 years, and like they're just throwing money at it because they've got the mate that works in the newspapers, blah blah blah. But it's just frivolously throwing money at the marketing side of things. Whereas, as you say, working with an agency who's a strategy and has maybe seen multiple different strategies that have worked in, you know, different industries, you can then use that and utilize that with that business and
Absolutely.
grow that way. So I think that's a good point that we could kind of finish on, Josh. You know, I've learned a lot from you as an agency owner, and
Thank you, Ben.
you know, I think, you know, the main thing that business owners need to realize is like they really need to look at themselves, and ultimately figure out what is their driving force, and hopefully they can achieve that. And whenever you come across other business owners as well, it's, you know, it's, if it's the same industry, it's healthy competition. If it's different industries, we can learn a lot from each other. Like, I've learned a lot from you as a marketing agency, and you know, I would still not be bothered doing my own marketing for my own business. I would definitely just be like, here, you can take it. You know what you're talking about.
Yep.
And, you know, you couldn't walk into my business tomorrow
Yep.
and, you know, run it the way I kind of run it, because I obviously have some sort of value and I have something there that helps it tick over to what it is, to the way it functions now. But I just want to say thanks very much for coming on, and hopefully see you again soon.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.